Amy Martinez stood at her post outside the royal chambers of Queen Zeralia. The tall human woman adjusted her uniform and tried not to fidget. The other guards, all Zenovians with their blue skin and 4 arms, looked perfectly still. Amy still felt out of place even after 6 months on this alien world. The alarm echoed through the palace halls, making Amy jump. Lights flashed and voices shouted in both English and the clicking Zenovian language. Queen down, medical team to royal chambers. Now Amy rushed inside with the other guards. The massive bedchamber glittered with crystals embedded in the walls. Queen Zeralia lay on her sleeping platform, her normally vibrant blue skin now pale and ashy. Her personal attendants hovered around, her all 8 hands moving frantically. Amy watched from the doorway as the royal medical team arrived. They scanned the queen with strange devices that hummed and glowed. Their faces showed confusion and growing panic. The head physician turned to the room. Her 4 eyes blinked rapidly, a sign of extreme stress. The queen suffers from cardiac failure, but we cannot determine the cause. Our treatments are having no effect. She may have only hours left. The room erupted in chaos. The Zenovian High Council was summoned, emergency protocols activated. The human ambassador was notified, as this could affect the newly formed alliance between Earth and Zenovia. Amy felt useless as she watched. She was just a guard assigned to this post because of the alliance agreement. She had no medical training, no diplomatic authority, but something felt wrong. Amy had grown up watching her grandmother run a small-town clinic back in Oklahoma. She remembered how her grandma could often tell what was wrong with patients just by looking at them. Paying attention to small details others missed, Amy studied the scene. The queen moaned softly, her 3 hearts beating in an uneven rhythm, visible through her semi-translucent chest. The physicians administered more medications with no effect. The human noticed something odd. The queen's favorite pet, a creature like a cross between a cat and a lizard, sat in its special basket across the room, looking perfectly healthy. Amy had seen the queen cuddling the creature each day when she thought no one was watching. Amy thought about what her grandmother had taught her about allergic reactions and how they could sometimes develop suddenly, even to things people had been exposed to for years. "Excuse me," Amy said quietly at first, then louder when no one paid attention. "Excuse me, I think I might know what's wrong." The head physician glared at her. All 4 eyes narrowed. What could a human guard possibly know that our royal medical team does not? Amy swallowed hard but continued. "When did the queen's symptoms start?" "This morning when she woke," one of the attendants answered before the physician could stop her. "And where was her pet sleeping last night?" Amy pointed to the cat-like creature. The attendant looked confused. "On her bed as always, but last night the royal groundskeeper brought in new bedding for its basket, stuffed with fresh Cenari flowers from the southern gardens. The queen loves their scent." Amy nodded. "That's it, the queen isn't having heart failure. She's having an allergic reaction to something in those flowers. Your scans probably don't detect it because it affects humans and Zenovians differently. I've seen something similar in humans." The physician looked skeptical but desperate enough to listen. "Check her blood for unusual proteins. Specifically look for immune responses to the new plant material." The medical team performed new tests, and within minutes confirmed Amy's theory. The queen was indeed having a severe allergic reaction to a compound in the Zenari flowers that had never affected her before, because she'd never been exposed to such a high concentration. They administered the Zenovian equivalent of antihistamines, and within an hour Queen Zeralia's condition improved dramatically. Her 3 hearts began beating in their normal synchronized rhythm. Her color returned. The head physician approached Amy later that day. All 4 of her arms were clasped in the Zenovian gesture of deep respect. "How did you know?" "Human guard. When all our advanced medical technology failed," Amy shrugged. "Sometimes the simplest explanation is the right one. My grandmother was a country doctor. She taught me to look for connections between events, to see the whole picture, not just the symptoms." News of what happened spread quickly through the palace guard staff and then beyond. A human had saved the queen when all Zenovian science had failed. Amy found herself the center of attention. something she had never wanted. Her fellow guards treated her differently now, some with newfound respect, others with barely concealed jealousy. 3 days after the incident, Amy was summoned to the royal audience chamber. Her commander, a stern Zenovian named Kalara, escorted her. "You have brought honor to the Guard Corps." Kalara said, her voice a series of clicks and whistles translated by the small device at Amy's ear. "But be careful, humans rising too quickly in Zenovian society makes many powerful people nervous." Amy nodded. "I didn't do anything special, I just noticed something anyone could have seen." Kalara made a strange sound that Amy had come to recognize as laughter. "That is precisely what makes humans so dangerous to some Zenovians. Your species sees patterns we misthinks in ways we do not understand." The audience chamber doors slid open, revealing a vast hall filled with Zenovian nobility, their blue and purple skin decorated with glowing markings of rank and family. Amy had never seen so many highborn Zenovians in one place. The queen sat on her crystalline throne looking fully recovered. Her 3 assistants hovered nearby, each holding various ceremonial items. Approach. Human, Amy Martinez. Queen Ziralia's voice carried through the chamber. Amy walked forward, conscious of every eye on her. When she reached the designated spot, she knelt as she had been trained. Human Amy. "You saved our life when our own physicians could not." The queen's voice was formal. "You have proven the value of the human perspective in ways we had not anticipated." Amy kept her head bowed as protocol demanded. "We have considered how to properly reward such service." The queen continued. "For a Zenovian, we would grant lands title power, but we understand humans value different things. Tell us what would be a suitable reward for saving the life of a queen." Amy looked up, surprised to be asked directly. "What do I say?" she wondered. Her mind raced through possibilities. What did she truly want? "I would ask for knowledge." "Your Majesty," Amy said finally, "I would like to learn more about Zenovian medicine so that I might help bridge the gap between our healing traditions. Perhaps what happened with Your Majesty isn't the only case where human observation and Zenovian technology could work together." A murmur went through the crowd. The queen's upper eyes blinked slowly, a sign of thoughtful consideration, an unusual request. The queen said, "Most would ask for wealth or power. You ask for knowledge and the chance to serve." "Yes, Your Majesty," Amy replied, "because that's what would truly matter." The queen rose from her throne, towering over Amy. Her bioluminescent markings pulsed with bright colors. "So be it, Amy Martinez. From this day you shall be appointed Royal Health Guardian, a new position that will bridge human and Zenovian medical knowledge. You will work directly with our royal physicians and help train others in human observational methods." Amy felt her heart race with excitement and nervousness. This was far beyond anything she had expected when she woke up this morning. She had come to Zenovia simply because the military offered double pay for off-world assignments, a way to help her family back on Earth. Now suddenly she was being elevated to a royal position. "Your Majesty, I'm honored, but I'm not a doctor. I only know what my grandmother taught me," Amy said, feeling she had to be honest. The queen made the chiming sound of Zenovian laughter. "You have something more valuable than formal training. You have wisdom and instinct. We can teach you the technical knowledge, but we cannot teach intuition." And so began Amy's new life on Zenovia. She was moved from the guard barracks to quarters in the royal wing itself. Her new rooms were larger than her entire family home back in Oklahoma. The walls shimmered with the same crystal formations found throughout the palace, alive with soft light that adjusted to her moods. Her first day of training was overwhelming. The head physician, Trisala, a female Zenovian with unusual golden markings along her forearms, showed Amy the medical facilities. Their technology seemed like magic devices that could scan entire bodies in seconds, display 3-dimensional images of internal organs, and even repair some injuries without breaking the skin. "I don't understand any of this," Amy confessed after hours of demonstration. "I'm just a small town girl who joined the military to help pay for my brother's college. I don't belong here." Trisala tilted her head, the Zenovian equivalent of a reassuring smile. "You do not need to understand the technology, human Amy. You need only continue doing what you have already done. Observe, notice connections, Ask questions. Your perspective is what we need, not your technical knowledge. In the following weeks, Amy established a routine. Each morning she shadowed Trisala as the physician made her rounds treating various ailments among the palace staff and nobility. Each afternoon she studied Zenovian anatomy, physiology, and basic medical principles. In the evenings, she recorded her observations and questions in a journal. 1 month into her new role, Amy sat in the physician's common room drinking a beverage that tasted like mint tea, but glowed softly blue. She reviewed her notes as Trisala and 2 other doctors discussed. A difficult case, the patient is a kitchen worker, Trisala explained, showing holographic scans to her colleagues. She has developed tremors in her lower arms and weakness in her upper ones, but all scans show no neural damage, no toxins, no infection. We cannot determine the cause. Amy looked up from her notes. What does she do in the kitchen specifically? She prepares the royal morning meal. Trisala said. Why? Amy thought for a moment. Does that involve handling the purple root vegetables I saw at the market yesterday? The ones that get cut and boiled? Yes, those are livy root, a staple of our diet. Trisala seemed confused by the question. Amy stood up and walked to the scans. May I see her hands specifically? Trisala expanded the image, zooming in. On the workers' forehands, there Amy pointed at barely visible small marks on the workers' palms. They look like tiny cuts, and there's discoloration around them. Trisala zoomed further. Yes, you're right, but these are too minor to cause the symptoms. Amy thought of something her grandmother had told her about certain plants on Earth, how some could cause reactions just by touch. Do humans ever work in the kitchen handling these vegetables? She asked. Trisala blinked in surprise. No, never. We assumed the acidity would be uncomfortable for human skin. That might be your answer, Amy said. Perhaps the liver root has compounds that affect Zenovian nervous systems when absorbed through small cuts in the skin. It might be so common in your diet that you've never connected it to any problems, but if she has small wounds and is handling them raw every day. The physicians looked at each other. Then Trisala quickly ordered tests on the worker's blood, specifically looking for compounds from the livy root. Amy's theory proved correct. The worker was experiencing a toxic reaction from the vegetable juice entering through tiny cuts in her skin. A reaction that Zenovian medicine had never documented because it happened so gradually, most never connected. The cause and effect word of Amy's second diagnostic breakthrough spread throughout the medical community. The human health guardian had done it again, using simple observation and what Zenovians were now calling human pattern thinking. Amy found herself invited to consult on more cases, some simple, some complex. What she lacked in technical knowledge she made up for with her fresh perspective. She began to gain confidence in her role one evening as she sat on the balcony of her quarters, watching the 3 moons of Zenovia rise. Amy received a call on her communication device. It was Kalara, her former commander human Amy. You have made quite a name for yourself. Kalara's translated voice had an edge to it. Thanks, I guess, Amy replied. Uncertain of the conversation's purpose, is everything okay? Not all celebrate your rise. Some in the High Council see the growing human influence in our royal court. As concerning the Queen's favor protects you. But be careful, rivals may try to discredit you to reduce human standing. Amy felt a chill despite the warm evening air. I'm just trying to help people. That's all. Kalara made a clicking sound. That is why you are dangerous. You help without seeking power. You solve problems. Our best minds cannot. It makes some question why we need our current leadership if humans can do better. After the call ended, Amy sat watching the alien sky, feeling suddenly very far from home. She had never wanted to be part of alien politics. She had only wanted to help. Yet somehow she had become a symbol of human capability in a way that threatened established Zenovian power structures. The next day, Amy was summoned to attend a High Council meeting as the Queen's medical advisor. She entered the Grand Council chamber feeling out of place despite her new formal robes. The 12 council members sat in a semicircle, their skin patterns glowing with various colors denoting their lineage and political factions. The High Minister addressed her directly. Human, Amy Martinez. The Council wishes to understand more about your medical insights. We are considering expanding the Human Advisor Program to other fields. What qualities do you believe make humans valuable to Zenovian society? Amy recognized the question. For what it was a test, she chose her words carefully. Humans aren't smarter than Zenovians or more advanced, we simply think differently. Our worlds shaped us in different ways. What makes our partnership valuable is precisely that difference. When we look at the same problem from different angles, we see solutions neither would find alone. The High Minister's upper eyes narrowed. A diplomatic answer. Amy straightened her shoulders. It's the truth. Your Excellency, I didn't save the Queen because humans are superior. I saved her because I happened to notice something others missed. Next time it might be a Zenovian who notices something humans would overlook. That's the power of our alliance. Several council members nodded in agreement. Others remained stone-faced. The political implications of her words hung in the air. Would Zenovia embrace the human alliance fully, or would fear of change drive them to resist it? Amy wondered what she had gotten herself into and if she was equipped to handle it. 3 months into her new role, Amy received an urgent message. The royal family from the neighboring system, the Viridians, were arriving for diplomatic talks. The Viridians were longtime rivals of Zenovia, but recent threats from a more distant aggressive species had pushed them toward an alliance. You will attend the Queen during the diplomatic reception, Trisala informed Amy as they finished their morning rounds. Your presence will show the value we place on human insight. Amy felt the weight of responsibility grow heavier. I'm not a diplomat, she protested. Trisala's four hands made a dismissive gesture. You represent human potential, that is diplomatic enough. The reception was held in the Grand Crystal Hall, the largest space in the palace. The Viridian delegation arrived in spectacular fashion. Their skin was deep crimson with gold markings. Unlike Zenovians, they had 2 arms but 4 eyes arranged vertically. They moved with fluid grace that made them appear to be floating rather than walking. Amy stood slightly behind Queen Zeralia, watching the proceedings carefully. The Viridian royal monarch Calix approached, followed by advisors, guards, and what appeared to be a medical team. We welcome you to Zenovia, Queen Zeralia said formally. We hope this meeting brings prosperity to both our peoples. Monarch Calix bowed slightly. The stars aligned for mutual benefit. The formal introductions continued until Amy was presented. This is Amy Martinez of Earth, our royal health guardian. Zeralia announced. Her human perspective has proven invaluable to our medical knowledge. Monarch Calix studied Amy with all 4 eyes. We have heard tales of this human, how she saved the Queen when all Zenovian science failed. Is this true? Amy felt uncomfortable with the attention, but nodded. Yes, Your Excellency. Though it was a simple observation anyone might have made. Calix made a sound like rustling leaves. Their version of laughter. Perhaps, but it was not made by anyone. It was made by you, a human. We have been considering whether to allow humans into our system. This may be a sign that we should. The diplomatic reception continued with elaborate ritual and ceremony. Amy remained quiet, observing everyone. She noticed that one of the Viridian advisors, an older individual, seemed to be struggling. Her movements were stiff, her breathing labored. Amy watched as the advisor leaned against a pillar briefly when she thought no one was looking. During the formal meal, Amy was seated near Trisala, that Viridian advisor, the older one with the silver markings on her neck. Amy whispered something's wrong with her. She's having trouble breathing and moving. Trisala glanced discreetly in the direction Amy indicated. Perhaps, but it would be a diplomatic incident to suggest a high Viridian official is unwell. They are extremely private about health matters. Amy nodded, understanding the delicate situation, but continued to watch the advisor. Throughout the meal, the Viridian's condition seemed to worsen. Her skin dulled slightly. She ate little, and twice she pressed a hand to her chest when she thought no one was watching. As the dessert course was served, the advisor suddenly collapsed. The Viridian medical team rushed to her side, but their frantic movements suggested confusion without Thinking, Amy moved toward the fallen advisor. The Viridian doctors looked up with hostility. "This is not your concern." "Human, one of them," hissed. Amy stood her ground. "I've been observing her all evening. She's been showing signs of respiratory distress. I might be able to help." Monarch Calix approached. "What is happening here?" "The advisor is experiencing some kind of attack, Your Excellency." The Viridian doctor explained. "Our preliminary scans show her air sacs are inflamed, but we cannot determine." Amy spoke carefully. "I noticed she began showing symptoms shortly after entering the crystal hall. The symptoms have gotten progressively worse." Calix's 4 eyes focused on Amy. "What are you suggesting?" Human. Amy thought carefully before speaking. "Is it possible Viridians have sensitivity to the crystal formations in this hall? The Zenovians use specific crystal types that might emit frequencies or compounds unfamiliar to Viridian biology." The Viridian doctors looked at each other with sudden understanding. "We have no such crystals in our world," the chief physician admitted. "Such exposure could indeed cause inflammatory response in our respiratory systems." They quickly moved the advisor to a room without crystals and administered anti-inflammatory medication. Within an hour, she had stabilized and was breathing normally. Later that evening, Monarch Calix requested a private audience with Amy, Queen Zeralia, and the High Minister. "You have assisted one of my most valued advisors, Human," Amy Calix said formally. "We are in your debt." Amy shook her head. "No debt is owed, Your Excellency. I simply noticed a connection, but that is precisely the point." Calix countered. "Your human perspective noticed what both our medical teams overlooked. We had heard stories of human intuition. Now we have witnessed it. I will support the motion to include humans in our alliance negotiations." After the Viridians departed, Amy found herself even more deeply enmeshed in Zenovian politics. The Queen now requested her presence not just for medical matters but for diplomatic functions as well. She became known as the Queen's Human, a position of informal but significant influence. Not everyone appreciated her rise to prominence. Amy began receiving anonymous messages on her communication device. Some simply stated, "Go home, human." Others contained veiled threats. One evening she returned to her quarters to find them ransacked, though nothing appeared to be missing. Kalara, her former commander, increased security around her human. "Amy, you must be more careful. The old guard sees you as a symbol of unwelcome change. Your success threatens their power." Amy sat heavily on her couch. "I never wanted any of this. I just wanted to help people. That is why the Queen values you," Kalara replied. "But idealism can be dangerous in royal politics. You must learn to protect yourself." The next day, Amy received a summons from Queen Zeralia. She found the Queen alone in her private garden, a rare occurrence. "You seem troubled, human," Amy, Zeralia said without preamble. Amy hesitated, unsure how honest to be. "I'm not accustomed to politics, Your Majesty. I'm worried I'm becoming a liability to the human Zenovian alliance." The Queen's 3 hearts pulsed visibly through her translucent chest, a sign of emotional intensity. "I was born into politics, raised to rule. I sometimes envy your straightforward nature. It reminds me why I wanted the alliance with humans in the first place." "Why did you?" Amy asked, curious, despite herself, because Zenovian society had become stagnant. Zeralia said, "We have advanced technology but rigid thinking. Humans bring chaos, yes, but also innovation. Our 2 species balance each other." Amy considered this. "So my presence here, the position you created for me, it was always about politics." The Queen made her chiming laugh sound. "It was about survival." Amy Martinez, "Societies that do not adapt, perish. Change always faces resistance. You have become a symbol of that change, for better or worse." A week later, Amy faced her greatest challenge yet. She was called to examine a child from one of Zenovia's most noble houses. The child had been ill for months, with progressive weakness. No Zenovian doctor had been able to diagnose the condition. The family had finally swallowed their pride and requested the human health guardian. The family estate was far from the palace, nestled among purple mountains. Amy arrived via hover transport and was led to a dimly lit room where the child lay, The young Zenovian couldn't have been more than 5 Earth years old. Her skin was dull, her forearms thin and weak. Family members watched anxiously as Amy approached. "Can you help her where our doctors have failed?" The child's mother asked, her voice breaking. The translated words couldn't hide the emotion. Amy knelt beside the bed and spoke gently to the child. "Hello, my name is Amy. I'm going to try to help you feel better. Can you tell me your name?" The child looked at her with large, curious eyes. "I am Zira." "Are you really a human?" Amy smiled. "Yes, I am. Do you mind if I ask you some questions about how you're feeling?" As Amy spoke with the child, she noticed something unusual about the room. Strange shadows on the wall that seemed to move independently of any light source. She glanced up and saw faint dark shapes clinging to the ceiling. "What are those?" Amy asked. "Pointing night sprites," the mother explained. "Harmless creatures that eat insects. They're common in all Zenovian homes." Amy watched the sprites move across the ceiling. Something about their movement triggered a memory from her grandmother's clinic. A young boy with mysterious recurring illness, finally traced to a mold growing in his bedroom wall. "How long have the sprites been in this room?" Amy asked. "Always," the mother replied. "They live in all our homes." Amy stood up. "I need to test something." She took a small scanner Trisala had given her and aimed it at the sprites. The device showed readings she didn't fully understand, but one measurement flashed red. "These sprites," Amy said slowly. "Do they shed their skin?" "Yes, periodically." Amy pointed to her scanner. "These readings suggest the skin particles might be what's making your daughter sick. Human children sometimes have similar reactions to dust mites or pet dander. It's called an allergy." The Zenovian doctor who had been observing scoffed. "Impossible. Sprites have been in our homes for thousands of years." "But has your species always been so genetically engineered?" Amy asked pointedly. She had learned that Zenovian noble houses had practiced genetic selection for desired traits for generations. The room went silent. The doctor looked at the scanner readings again. The child might have been engineered for traits that inadvertently made her sensitive to the sprites, Amy explained. "Your medical scanners wouldn't look for this because, as you said, sprites have always been harmless." Amy's reputation grew across the planet. Requests for her consultation poured in from all regions. Parents with sick children, nobles with mysterious ailments, even working-class Zenovians sought her human perspective. She couldn't help everyone, of course, but each successful diagnosis strengthened the bond between humans and Zenovians. 6 months into her role, Amy received word from Earth. Her brother had graduated college thanks to the money she'd sent home. Her grandmother was asking when she might visit. Amy realized with a start that she hadn't considered returning to Earth. Her life was here now, among aliens, on a world with 3 moons and crystalline buildings. The thought was both exhilarating and terrifying. That same week, a human delegation arrived from Earth to discuss expanding the alliance. Diplomats, scientists, and military personnel came to evaluate the success of the initial cultural exchange. Amy was asked to meet with them to share her experiences. The delegation leader, Kate Wilson, studied Amy with undisguised curiosity. "You've become quite the celebrity, Martinez. From military guard to alien royal advisor in less than a year." Amy shrugged. "I was just in the right place at the right time." Wilson smiled. "Maybe, but you've also proven what humans can offer to advanced species. Our adaptability, our different way of seeing problems. Earth wants to establish a permanent embassy here. They're offering you an official diplomatic position." Amy was stunned. "I'm not a diplomat," she repeated for what felt like the 100th time. Wilson laughed. "None of us were prepared for any of this. You think I expected to be negotiating with 8-foot-tall blue aliens with 3 hearts when I was studying international relations at Georgetown? But here we are. This is history being made, and you're at the center of it." The offer was tempting. A real diplomatic position, recognition from Earth, not just Zenovia. But something held Amy back. She had built something here, a role that was uniquely hers. A bridge between 2 species. "I need time to think about it." Amy told Wilson, "Take all the time you need." Wilson replied, "But not too much. The universe is expanding faster than our diplomacy can keep up." That evening, Amy stood on her balcony looking at the alien sky. She thought about her family back on Earth, the life she'd left behind. She thought about Queen Zeralia, who had taken a chance on a human guard. She thought about the children she'd helped, the lives she'd changed. Soft chime announced a visitor. It was Trisala, the head physician. I heard about the Earth offer. Trisala said, her 4 arms clasped in front of her. News travels fast. Amy replied. The physician moved to stand beside her, gazing at the moons. Have you? Decided Amy sighed. Not yet. I miss Earth sometimes, my family. But I've built something important here. You have changed us. Trisala said simply. Before you came, we were set in our ways, confident in our superiority. Now we see value in different perspectives, not just with humans, but with other species too. The Viridian alliance would not have happened without you. I didn't do it alone. Amy protested. Trisala made the Zenovian equivalent of a smile. No one ever does. But sometimes one person can be the catalyst for change. That is what you have been. Later that night, unable to sleep, Amy decided to visit the royal gardens. The guards recognized her and allowed her to pass without question. She walked among the strange alien plants, some glowing softly in the darkness, others moving slightly as if breathing. She heard voices ahead and realized she wasn't alone. Queen Zeralia was in the garden with several advisors. Their conversation drifted toward Amy. The Earth delegation demands too much, one advisor was, saying they seek access to technologies we have protected for generations. The Queen's voice was calm. They offer knowledge and resources in return, and their perspective has already proven valuable. Or have you forgotten how a human saved my life, Amy? Froze, not wanting to eavesdrop, but curious what the Queen would say. Another voice spoke. The High Minister. Amy recognized. Humans are unpredictable, Your Majesty. This Martinez woman has been useful. Yes, but can we trust her species with our most guarded secrets? What if they use our technology against us or share it with others? The Queen was silent for a moment. Then she said, Human. Amy stepped forward. I know you are there. Amy emerged from behind a large flowering plant, embarrassed at being caught. I'm sorry, Your Majesty, I couldn't sleep. I didn't mean to overhear. Zeralia gestured for her to approach. Perhaps it is good that you did. We are discussing the future of your species and mine. What do you think, Amy Martinez, should we trust humans with? Our deepest technological secrets? Amy felt the weight of the question. This wasn't just about her anymore. It was about humanity's place among the stars. I think trust must be earned. Your Majesty, she said carefully. On both sides, humans have a history of misusing technology. So some caution is warranted, but isolation leads to stagnation, as you yourself told me. Our species need each other, even if the path forward isn't always clear. The Queen's 3 hearts pulsed with approval. Wisely said you. See, she told her advisors, this is why I value human counsel. They understand nuance and balance. The next day, Amy was summoned to a private audience with the Queen. She found Zeralia alone in her study. You have been offered a position with your Earth delegation, the Queen stated. It was not a question. Yes, Your Majesty, Amy confirmed. Word really does travel fast around here. The Queen's upper eyes blinked slowly. I will not stop you if you wish to accept Earth is your home. It is natural you would. Want to serve your own kind, Amy? Hesitated, studying the alien monarch who had changed her life. I'm not sure what I want. Your Majesty. The Earth position would be prestigious, but what we've built here feels important. Too important to abandon Zeralia. Moved to a crystal display, activating it with a touch. Images appeared of humans and Zenovians working together in various settings. Since your success story spread, we have integrated more humans into our society. The Queen explained medical facilities throughout Zenovia now have human consultants. Our engineering corps has human advisors suggesting new approaches. Our education system is being reformed to include what you call lateral thinking. Amy was amazed at the scope of the changes I had. No idea. You started something larger than yourself, Zeralia said, her voice warm. Even my most resistant advisors cannot argue with the results. Amy made her decision. Then, I want to stay, Your Majesty, if you'll have me. But perhaps my role could evolve to help more formally with the integration of humans into Zenovian society. The Queen made her chiming laugh. I was hoping you would say that I have a proposal. The following week, a formal ceremony was held in the Grand Crystal Hall Amy stood before. The assembled court human delegation and representatives from across Zenovia. Queen Zeralia rose from her throne. Her voice carrying throughout the vast chamber, Amy Martinez came to our world as a guard. She saved our life through human insight. When, offered glory from her own kind, she chose to remain with us. Such loyalty deserves recognition. The Queen gestured and an attendant brought forward a crystal medallion unlike any Amy had seen before. We hereby appoint Amy Martinez as First Minister of Interspecies Relations, a new position with authority to oversee all human Zenovian integration throughout our realm. She will have a seat on our High Council, with all rights and responsibilities thereof. Murmur went through the crowd. Some surprised, some pleased, some clearly dismayed. A human on the High Council was unprecedented. Amy knelt to receive the medallion, feeling its strange weight around her neck as she rose. The Queen placed 2 of her 4 hands on Amy's shoulders. You have shown us that different does not mean lesser. The Queen said, that strength comes from diversity. May your human heart guide our Zenovian minds to a better future for both our worlds. Amy turned to face the assembled crowd, humans and Zenovians watching, with hope and uncertainty. The weight of responsibility felt enormous but also right somehow. She had found her purpose on this alien world, billions of miles from where she was born. I pledge to serve both our peoples with honor and wisdom, Amy said, her voice steady. To build bridges of understanding where differences divide us, to find the common ground beneath our alien skins. Later that evening at the reception celebrating her appointment, Amy stood with Trisala, watching humans and Zenovians, mingling. Some awkwardly, some with genuine warmth, you know? Trisala said, her voice thoughtful for a human. You make a rather good Zenovian. Amy smiled, watching a human scientist enthusiastically explaining something to a group of fascinated Zenovian engineers. And for aliens, you all make pretty good humans when you try. Trisala made the chiming laugh. Perhaps that is the secret to interspecies relations, finding the best of ourselves in those most different from us. Amy nodded, touching the medallion. At her neck, a symbol of how far she had come from that nervous guard outside the Queen's chambers. And our differences can make us stronger if we have the wisdom to see their value. As the 3 moons rose over the crystal spires of the alien city, Amy Martinez, First Minister of Interspecies Relations, felt for the first time that she was exactly where she was meant to be. Not just a visitor on a strange world, but a bridge builder, a catalyst for change in a vast and complex universe. 1 year after saving Queen Zeralia's life, Amy stood on the landing platform, watching the Earth ship descend through Zenovia's pearl-colored clouds. Her heart raced with anticipation. The ship carried her grandmother, Linda Martinez, the woman who had unknowingly prepared Amy for her role in alien politics through years of medical wisdom, shared in a small Oklahoma clinic. The ship landed with a soft hiss of hydraulics. The ramp extended and passengers began to disembark. Amy spotted her grandmother immediately. Despite the crowd of humans and aliens, Linda Martinez stood out. Her silver hair was pulled back in a familiar bun. Her weathered face broke into a wide smile when she saw Amy. Grandma Amy rushed forward, embracing the older woman tightly. Look at you. Linda held Amy at arm's length, studying her. The fancy robes suit you, but you're still my Amy. Amy laughed, blinking back tears. I've missed you so much. Linda looked around at the crystalline buildings, the alien guards, the 3 moons visible, even in daylight. So this is your new home. Looks like something from one of those science fiction shows your brother used to watch. Amy led her grandmother to the waiting transport. What do you think? It's different, that's for sure. Linda settled into the seat, looking curiously at the Zenovian pilot with his blue skin and 4 arms. But different isn't bad. Different is just different. Over the next few days, Amy showed her grandmother everything. The palace, the medical facilities, the gardens, even the now famous royal chambers where she had saved the queen. The Zenovians treated Linda with enormous respect, some even bowing as she passed. Word had spread that this was the human who had taught their first minister the wisdom that saved their. Queen Zeralia herself requested a meeting with Linda. The two spoke for hours, Amy watching in amazement as her grandmother and the alien queen discussed everything from medical practices to child rearing to leadership philosophy. "Your granddaughter has transformed our world," the queen told Linda. "Her human perspective has saved countless lives and brought our peoples together." Linda smiled, patting Amy's hand. She always did see things others missed, even as a child, always asking why, always looking for connections. "That's something you can't teach, but you did teach me." Amy protested. "All those years in your clinic watching you work." Linda shook her head. "I just gave you opportunities to see. Your mind made the connections on its own during her grandmother's 2-week stay." Amy arranged for her to meet with Zenovian medical students. Linda shared stories of Earth medicine, of treating patients with limited technology, of the importance of observation and listening, beyond the technical aspects of healing. On her final evening on Zenovia, Linda sat with Amy on the balcony of her quarters watching the alien sunset. "I'm proud of you," Amy, Linda said softly. "You've done more here in a year than most people do in a lifetime." Amy leaned against her grandmother's shoulder. "I still feel like I'm making it up as I go along. Half the time I'm terrified I'll make a mistake that hurts both our species." Linda laughed. "That's how everyone feels in important jobs. The difference is you admit it. The truly dangerous people are the ones who think they have all the answers." Amy looked out at the alien city stretching below them. "I wish you could stay longer. Your brother will be getting married soon," Linda reminded her. "You promised you'd come back for the wedding." Amy nodded. "I'll be there. The Earth delegation has arranged a special transport. It's just what? It feels strange going back," Amy admitted. "After everything that's happened here, Earth seems so simple," Linda supplied. "Not as exciting." Amy shook her head. "No, that's not it. Earth is home. It always will be. It's more that I feel caught between worlds now. Not fully of Earth anymore, but not Zenovian either." Linda took her hand. "That's your strength, Amy. Not belonging fully to either world means you can bridge them. You're building something new, something that's never existed before. That's worth the discomfort of not quite fitting in anywhere." After her grandmother returned to Earth, Amy threw herself into her duties with renewed purpose. She established cultural exchange programs bringing more humans to Zenovia while sending Zenovians to Earth. She oversaw the development of new medical protocols combining human observation with Zenovian technology. The integration was not always smooth. There were misunderstandings, cultural conflicts, and occasional diplomatic incidents. But the alliance grew stronger. 6 months later, Amy returned to Earth for her brother's wedding. It felt surreal to walk on Earth soil, to feel Earth gravity, to see a single moon in the sky. Her family welcomed her with open arms, though they stared at her ceremonial Zenovian robes and the crystal medallion she still wore. The wedding was beautiful, simple, and human. Amy stood beside her brother as he married his college sweetheart in their hometown church. For one day, she was just Amy from Oklahoma, not the alien first minister. During the reception, her brother pulled her aside. "I barely recognize you, sis," he said with a smile. "You carry yourself differently, now more confident, more alien," Amy suggested with a laugh. He shook his head. "No more yourself. It's like you finally found where you belong, even if it's light years from where you started." 2 weeks later, Amy stood at the boarding ramp of the ship that would take her back to Zenovia. Her family gathered to say goodbye. "Will we see you again?" her mother asked, tears in her eyes. Amy hugged her fiercely. "Of course, this isn't goodbye, it's just see you later. The transport ships run monthly now, and maybe next time you can all visit me. See the 3 moons, the Crystal Palace." Her brother nodded. "I'd like that. And hey, maybe some of those alien medical techniques could help people here on Earth, too." Amy smiled. "That's the plan. The beginning of something bigger than all of us." As the ship broke through Earth's atmosphere, Amy watched her home planet shrink to a blue marble, then to a distant point of light among countless stars. She thought about the journey that had brought her here, from small town, Oklahoma to alien royal court, from military guard to interspecies diplomat. All because she had noticed something others had missed. The ship entered faster than light travel, the stars blurring outside the viewport. Amy closed her eyes, thinking about what awaited her on Zenovia, the challenges and possibilities, the two worlds she now bridged in saving an alien queen. She had found her purpose among the stars. When the ship emerged from FTL travel, 2 weeks later, Zenovia's pearl-colored atmosphere filled the viewport. Amy felt a surge of emotion. This alien world had become her second home. The landing was smooth. The disembarkation routine. Amy stepped onto Zenovian soil, welcomed by a delegation of officials, both human and Zenovian Trisala. Was there, her 4 eyes blinking in what Amy now recognized as affection? Welcome home. First Minister Trisala said. Amy smiled. The words feeling right, home. A strange concept when home now meant a crystal palace on an alien world. But perhaps home wasn't about location. It was about purpose, about making a difference. The transport took them through the capital city. Amy noticed new construction mixed human and Zenovian architectural styles, a physical manifestation of the integration she had helped foster at the palace. Queen Zeralia waited to greet her. How was Earth? The queen asked as they walked through the gardens. Beautiful, Amy replied, but different now. Or maybe I'm different. Zeralia's 3 hearts pulsed visibly. Change is the only constant in the universe. The queen said philosophically, you have changed us. We have changed you. And together we change the future. Later that evening, Amy stood on her balcony looking at the 3 moons. She thought about her journey. The accident of fate that had placed her outside the queen's chambers that fateful day. The lifetime of observation her grandmother had instilled in her. The countless decisions that had led to this moment. Her communication device chimed. A message from Earth. A photo of her family gathered around her grandmother's kitchen table, all smiling, all proud of their Amy among the stars. Another message followed this one from the Human Earth Embassy. New medical protocols inspired by Zenovian techniques were showing promising results for previously untreatable conditions. The bridge she had helped build was working in both directions. Amy looked up at the alien sky, feeling a profound sense of peace. She had found her place in the universe, not as a conqueror, not as a savior, but as a bridge builder. Someone who saw the value in different perspectives, who could translate between worlds literal and figurative. A small notification appeared on her device, a reminder of tomorrow's High Council meeting where representatives from a 3rd alien species would be arriving to discuss joining the alliance. More bridges to build. More connections to forge. Amy Martinez, First Minister of Interspecies Relations, former military guard, granddaughter of a country. Doctor smiled at the vastness of space visible from her balcony. Sometimes the universe's greatest advances came not from technology or power, but from something simpler, a different way of seeing, a willingness to look beyond the obvious. A bridge between worlds. She had saved a queen, and in doing so, she had found her destiny among the stars, and somewhere in the vastness of the galaxy, other humans were making their own connections, building their own bridges, showing that humanity's greatest strength wasn't technology or military might, but something far more powerful. The ability to see things differently, to notice what others missed, to find common ground with those most alien to themselves. That was humanity's gift to the stars, and Amy was proud to be a part of it.